All right, welcome, Smithsonians. Welcome back, Smith Francois here. It's been a while. You're not going crazy. Yes, there's two Smiths here. Welcome, guys, to episode 4. It's a new face. It's a Smith, but not Smith Francois, not Mr. Francois, but we have Dean Smith. I would like to introduce him and welcome. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for all the back end work helping me get through this. But we're gonna talk about finance. Let's talk about the numbers. But before that, let's get to know who you are.
Yeah, well, it's great being on here, Smith. Thanks for having me on. So as Smith alluded to, I'm Dean Smith. No relation here. So I was actually a 2024 NALA cohort grad with Smith here. We learned a lot in that cohort. I think we developed our leadership skills a lot there.
Competition skills.
Yeah, and we had a little tennis match there.
Yes.
At one point. We still play pretty often, but I serve as a Greater Hilltop Area Commissioner, also as Assistant City Auditor for the City of Columbus, helping manage the city's just over $5 billion debt portfolio. We'll talk a little more about my financial background here in a sec. But I'm also a treasurer of Hilltop Rise Economic Development, CDC.
I won't call you from now on.
Yeah, you should. Well,
all records.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite done. Yeah, I was also a young entrepreneur at the age of 8. I had a vending machine business actually. So, yeah, of course. So I would actually go to businesses and ask them to put like a gumball machine in, right? And so I would place a gumball machine, and I would either do one of two things. So I'd either share commission with them, or I would donate it to charity, or donate what would have been their commission to charity. So we always had these sorts of deals worked out. And I was also able to acquire a route down in Xenia, Ohio, which is around the Dayton area.
Okay.
But I'm originally from the Bell Fountain area.
Okay.
And so that's where I started that business from. And I got to grow up the first 18 years of my life there before moving to Columbus.
Where's like Xenia?
Xenia. It's a smallish town right outside of Dayton.
Okay.
It's probably close to like the size of Delaware, Ohio, but I had some there. And also in another town outside of Dayton called Jamestown. It's all like in the Greene County, Ohio area. Not too far from Springfield, if you're familiar with that.
Okay. Yeah, I've been there a few times.
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool. Awesome. So Dean Smith, so you're starter. So they mentioned you're Army. You was Army also?
Well, I was Ohio Air National Guard, so I was an aircraft mechanic. So if you ever if you've ever been to an air show, or even just looking out in the sky, you've probably seen these, or even in the movies too. You've seen these like big gray aircraft with the big propellers on it where they parachute out the back, right? I worked on those, mainly on the hydraulic system, which is like the muscle of the aircraft, you know? So I did that for 6 years while I was in college to help serve our country. So
that's awesome, because I didn't know, because I tried to go for the National Guard. They said I was a Scooby snack. All I had to do was lose some weight and I'll be in, but I didn't. Like, that's crazy. I was to do the National Guard, but I did. Awesome. Under 40, so entrepreneur from 8. Talk about that. Like, who helped you, mold you, like, from 8? Because me, I started around 10. I didn't do entrepreneurship, but I was always behind the cameras in the pulpit. So
okay.
I didn't.
Nice.
I just knew how to serve in that capacity, but you had a business at that time. Like, how did you go into the vending machine?
Well, so I'll just start off by saying I had very supportive parents, you know. They, like, I always had drive, even like younger than that, you know. I've always had drive, and I think I had looked at doing a couple of different things. Most of them things that an 8-year-old can't do, you know, like owning real estate, or like owning trucks and stuff like that, you know, like all these different businesses. But out of all the ideas I had, that seemed to be the most attainable at that age.
Right.
And so my parents helped me, but they didn't hand me the keys and be like, here you go, it's ready for you. I had to actually build it myself. So I actually took out a loan, believe it or not, from my parents to get my first machine. My dad helped me locate it, but then from there on out, I would like do things around the house to work to repay those loans, and then like whenever whenever my parents would take me out, I would pay them a small piece of that, because no, like in real life, if I have to pay for depreciation on the vehicle, insurance, all of that stuff, so they wanted me to understand the expenses of doing business, and I think that's a lesson that I still value today.
Awesome. So did you go to school for accounting or like?
No, so believe it or not, I went to school for city and regional planning at OSU, and government, aside from just my interest in business. But while I was a city planning major, I took an elective course that was with a adjunct professor who is now the city auditor of Columbus, Megan Kilgore. And she actually had just started her first term when I began class. I didn't even know who she was when I took the class, but like I remember her walking in and thinking, wait a minute, it's starting to ring a bell. And then I realized that I had saw her like on a card that I was mailed, with her face on it from her campaign. And I was like, I think I voted for her. But then taking her class, though, it just really got me into the idea of not only like finance, but finance while running a city, the business side of cities. And so eventually I got a unpaid internship there, which turned into a paid internship, which turned into a full-time job. So I started there 2018 as an unpaid intern. And then I graduated 2020 during the pandemic. Worst year to graduate, right?
You didn't get to walk, did you?
No, I never walked. I watched it virtually. But I really enjoyed her class, and that kind of pushed me to be real interested in finance.
You're very interesting. Like the first coach, like, you break all the first records.
I am.
You test a few times. That's good. For me, like the thing I want to stress is like from a young age, you had the interest. Like, did you have any notes taking? Like, cause me, I manifest a few things. Like, everything's God first, but like what I'm reading is called manifestation. So I wrote down the things since 2018 till I'm seeing now manifesting. So like, I want to break it down. I know you said you just since age, like what was it? I said before the teacher, like what helped you? Like, what did you see? The exams were like, how was the life like? Like, did you play outside? Like, were you home? Like,
well, I grew up a lot of my life out in the country, but I first grew up in Bellefontaine, first 10 years of my life, which is a small town, and I lived in this very tight-knit neighborhood, a lot of neighborhood kids living in that neighborhood, and I got to every day I'd play outside with them. But then also I had pretty social parents, I think, pretty young parents, I should say. My mom had me at 20, and so I got to hang out a lot around their friends, and I think being around so many people really kind of gave me a lot of encouragement growing up to experience new things and that sort of thing, and just be confident in a lot of the things I do.
All right, cool. So influence. The other part I want to say is people that support you. Like I grew up around entrepreneurships also. Dad used to do body work after work for the city, street sanitation, and then my mom, she had daycare. Like since I was born, she hasn't really been working. Take care of me. So like I'm seeing the things like your parents had a major influence of how your upbringing. And mine's too. Mine's was both were from Haiti. I said a few times. I'm triple Haitian. Both my parents from Haiti. I'm born in Chicago. Chicago's run by Haitian. And people trusting you, like they push out the best for you. So that's what the community needs. But we're gonna dive in more on this episode on finance. But if anybody else, they comment below, like what information do you want to understand about accounting or upbringing? Because right now education is valuable. That's the piece I'm trying to say. Like education is valuable. Like you had to go get it. You can, like, you went to school for what?
City planning.
I went actually for accounting, but the only reason I did it is because entrepreneurship. But you need an education piece. Like, that's gonna be more tough now, but you have to do that education piece. And you also mentioned, like, let's talk about it. Like, what do you do for city planning? Like, what is the budget like? Like, how does it work? You pay your taxes or you renting? Like, how does it work? It comes out your paycheck. Like, where does it go? Like, who's voting? Like, how does it work? Lay out the system for me.
Magic. That's how.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, So we collect that income tax, right?
Okay.
A fourth of that goes to a special fund that funds our capital budget, essentially. It goes to pay the debt service on that, which I'll get into the capital budget here in a sec. The other 75% goes into the operating budget. And so it's important to split those two items up. So the operating budget, if you think about it, goes to fund the everyday services. So it goes to pay our firefighters, police officers, other city employees, also to do things like clean up parks, pretty much any sort of picking up trash.
The parks.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much any sort of service you can think of that the city provides, or any like small items that are purchased to fund the operations of the city is that piece. And then the capital piece is think about it as those big items, the buildings, right? The fire trucks, the water lines. The capital budget goes to fund a lot of that. So pretty much anything over $5,000 has a lifespan of 5 years. That's how we define that. And so for that piece, we'll issue municipal bonds, and that is paid depending on what the project is from that 2.5% we were just talking about from the paycheck. Or if it goes to fund something like a new water treatment plant, water lines, also the sewage system, the storm sewer system, those will be paid out of user fees. So when you go to pay your water bill, it's going to fund not only the operations of our water system and sewer system, but also building capital improvements like that are tied to your utilities. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. The piece that I have I have the pleasure of working on a day-to-day basis is managing our city's debt portfolio. Yeah, there's very few people that get as lucky as I do to get to work with a city that is so good about managing its debt. Columbus has just over $5.4 billion in debt right now, which sounds scary, right? But it's not quite, as long as you have a good, solid debt program that you follow the guidelines and that you have a good strategy for managing the debt, then it can actually be to your benefit. And for us, it absolutely is, you know? Think about, so a lot of you listening probably have a credit score. So the highest would be about 850.
Correct.
And municipalities also have a credit score. It's very different though. Like how you grade a municipality on its credit score versus an individual. But Columbus has a AAA, which is the highest credit rating. So some people like to compare that to having an 850.
Okay.
That's where I was getting with 850.
Right.
But so we're actually the most populous city with AAA credit ratings from all three rating agencies. Okay. Which to me shows that we're very good at managing our debt and we have strong finances and able to maintain that since 1995.
The debt, or what are the AA rating?
AAA, yeah.
Okay. So my question is, since you're the first, I want to challenge you. So yeah, get to have the debt to zero. That's
well, we wouldn't be the first. There actually are. I mean, believe it or not, there are states that just pay, states and cities that. Well, I don't know about states. I should say I know for sure cities that do pay in cash for things, especially a lot of the smaller things. I mean, if you think about it, there are governmental entities that couldn't really be rated because they might be so small. They might not take in enough revenue to really justify being able to take out like a sizable municipal issuance. Okay. But yeah, like for us, it wouldn't really make sense because with that AAA credit rating, we get to borrow at such a low interest rate, you know? I mean, there's been some years that like our investment portfolio has made so much money that it wouldn't make sense to retire some of that old debt that we had, like during the pandemic when interest rates are so low. You see where I'm getting at as a finance guy? Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Ratings. So how does one personally get their ratings up? Like, how does that trickle down to be in Columbus? Like, because Columbus has a great credit score, I'm just joking with you, but like, can a person that lives in Columbus have a good credit score? Like, what is a credit score for those that may not understand?
Yeah, so credit score is, and we were just talking about ratings for
Yes.
municipal debt.
Right.
Now we're talking personally, right? So everyone has a credit score. And the reason, I'll just start out with the reason that's important, right? When you go to buy your first house, or you go out to take a car loan, maybe it's a personal loan, your credit score is really going to dictate the interest rate that you get, and sometimes even like the terms of your loan. So it's really important to have a good credit score. It maxes out at 850, and to be honest with you, I'm blanking on like what the lowest
you don't
is.
Want to, just don't go below 500. I know, don't. It's lower than that, but like don't go below 500. It's like,
yeah, it's somewhere around there, but
we add the snippet in.
Yeah, yeah, we will. We put a scale right here,
Yes.
But one that I found helpful at a young age was I actually took out credit cards when I was like 18. I took out 2 credit cards, and ever since then, every paycheck I've paid them off consistently. And the reason that affects your credit score is because the credit rate, or the credit score, is based on several things. One of them is like, how many like lines, or like how the lenders want to see several lines of credit. But also, if you pay off your credit cards consistently and maintain like a really small percent of that outstanding balance versus the limit you have on those cards, that's really important.
All right. Have you heard Dave Ramsey?
I'm familiar with him. I can't say I agree with him on everything either. I guess I'm really like.
So what do you agree on? All right, this big person going to college, like what, especially nowadays with AI, all this stuff, like, is there a certain degree that you say for them to get? Because now we're going to AI stage. The question is 2-part. Like in finance, basically, like, they're going to school, like they won't get as much federal assistance. Like, how do you think they should prepare for college?
Yeah, and I mean that's a tough question. I feel like every time that folks go through college, there's some new challenge on the horizon, right? It was obviously the pandemic, at least in my senior year of college, 2020, right? So like what jobs you could get then, and even then we were talking about AI and the effects that might have on the job market. We're starting to see that play out a little bit. But I think some of the best advice that I've heard on that front so far is to be the best at whatever it is you're passionate about, and figure out how to use AI as a tool to do what you're doing. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But also be mindful of what jobs may or may not exist in the future with that, because I mean it will take away certain jobs, but it's also going to create certain jobs. So I think if you ever thought about a job in technology, that could play out well. And I think we're always going to need people in finance and even accounting, really.
That's my second question.
Yeah.
Are you using AI in your finances? Like,
I am.
personal capital, like, what do you like? Is there some things that people should know about that they don't know? Like Credit Karma, it's not really AI, but like some apps that you use.
So I'm very simple. I use Chat GPT to kind of help myself organize my thoughts a little. Also, if I need to kind of, or if I need help writing something, I'll use that as a tool to help me write better, and also analyze different things I'm working on. It's actually funny you bring that up, because the city is actually, at least in the city auditor's office, is doing a real good job of using AI tools in our accounting system, D365. There's various things that we're using AI for to help speed up our business processes, and we're also implementing new technologies and that sort of thing that use some AI capabilities. It's actually funny, Smith. We had a tax software that I believe came out in 1979, believe it or not.
I believe you.
Yeah, 1979, and we had a lot of the same processes in since then. We actually had 6 people employed that their job was just opening up mail. So like when the So when you pay your taxes, you'd send us the check and the paper and all that.
Yeah.
They would open up the mail and deposit that check and everything.
Right.
But since going on to online payment system, it's really automated the process. And now we have those folks in other jobs that are helpful with that new business practice. And so I mean, AI it sounds scary, but it's not all that bad. It does help out some business practices, but me personally, there are some things that it scares me about, like at least in the future.
So you said like I work at the state. I don't mention if you don't know where I work, just look me up on LinkedIn, but I don't present where I work for the state, but I keep my personal brand and work separate. So my question for you, because I actually see people open the mail, like I'm in accounting, so I see the work that you're talking about. Yeah, I'm always thinking about that. Like ever since the mention of AI, I'm next.
Oh,
so it's like not I'm next. Dirty was like, man, accounting is next. Like we want to get tech, so you have to use AI. It's like no matter what, like I do video, like use AI video, but like it's trickling down. But I don't want to see it yet. I want to see it, but like the same case, I'm like, ooh, like have my running shoes ready. Who my cheese, the book I read. Who my cheese, always have running shoes on. But I'm going off tangent, but like. AI is very popular, and you said it, like so many videos on AI, how to use it. It's very basic for people that's already in the field, but like to be aware of where it's gonna be potentially. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm trying to, you got me stuck on them like it's like, yeah, but with finance now, we go back to the capital, like I'm going back and forth, but the trash, like I don't see it in my bill. So I see storage and all that, like, but you said it comes from the capital part, right?
So it depends, right? So if you're talking about garbage trucks, right? Like us purchasing one, that would be capital. But as far as like paying like the employees or the contractors to go out collect the garbage, that would be operating, yeah.
Okay, because I'm sad to say, but like I'm nitpicking, I'm a budget person. Like, like I'm watching them, like I see water, so I'm like, where's the trash? Like where's it coming out from? Well, so it's like, stop.
Yeah, the reason you probably don't see that is I'm assuming you're looking at the property tax bill.
Yeah.
So that's so that's earmarked. I guess I should say earmarked for different things, right? Like the county collects property tax. The school district you live in collects property tax. If you live in a township, I believe that they may assess a property tax if they choose to do so. Same with libraries, other special districts. But with the way the city functions, we pay our garbage services through income tax.
Okay.
So you wouldn't see that in your property tax bill because it's paid through income tax.
Like how does he break down of like how everything's going out?
I have the most perfect thing for you then. So we produce a document which is called the Popular Annual Finance Report, or PAFR for short, and it shows it'll show that breakdown in it. It'll also show you some various other financial information about our city. I'm sure you can pop up the link on here for our viewers. But yeah, that's a really good document if you want to find out how much we spend on things such as that, or like public safety and that sort of thing. So
especially with all this cut, everybody talking about getting cuts. I'm like,
yeah,
I know it's coming out, but I don't see exactly where. It's like, yeah. So the link is here below. So. Yeah, appreciate that. Anything else you want to cover, like finance? I'm scripted, like I don't script. So we met at NOLA, so going back to personal now. So NALA, New American Leadership Academy. And yeah, that was like the most interesting soft way to understand the city, not to have you to understand the finances. Like what other secrets do you know about the city that we should know? Like
secret. Well, if they're secrets, I can't share. No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Some tips that you could share about the Columbus, Ohio, like why it's so popular. Like we have AA rating. It's like the international population is here. Like what makes Columbus so great?
Oh, I mean, too many to list. I think we'd be on here for the length of another episode. But you know, I think that you know we have it really comes down to the people, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, if you think about it, we have a very international population, folks from all sorts of different backgrounds. We're also home to one of the largest universities in the United States, Ohio State University.
Okay.
It usually ranks in the top 3 as far as enrollment goes in the U.S. And we also have several other various universities, so that gives us a very good talent pool. So say when an employer is looking for a city to build in, Columbus is always a good place if you want talented employees and also a diverse workforce. And as you may be aware of, there is not as much, there's been some problems with water usage on the West Coast. So a lot of employers are more cautious about going to places like LA, like, like a lot of those
Gotcha.
cities on the West Coast. But here in the Midwest, we don't have as many water problems. So we're a great place to build if you're an employer right now.
Yep. Yes. Make perfect sense. Like I'm hearing a lot more jets. I don't know if it's jets, but I'm seeing a lot of jets because we had the drone coming, Intel, Google. And also the thing I love about the Midwest is we're dead center. Like there's no hurricanes. It's like tornadoes, but it's like, there's no earthquakes here. So I could see why we're becoming the Silicon Valley of the United States. So yeah. So why Columbus? So you're from Zanesville, but why? How did you get to Columbus?
Well, actually, I'm from Bell Fountain, where I had a lot of my business at.
Okay.
But I have some family that are from here.
Mhm.
I actually spent a lot of weekends with my grandpa, who lived on the west side,
Okay.
not too far from where I live on the Hilltop now.
Okay.
And so coming to West Columbus a lot as a kid, I just kind of fell in love with the city entirely.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've just loved it. I really can't see myself living anywhere else. Yeah, it's just an amazing city with an amazing future.
Yep. People talking like the skyline. It's just enough for me. Like it's like I live down south, Huntsville, Alabama. Chicago's like this is like perfect balance. Like
Yeah,
but it's growing on me. It's like, oh man, all these companies are falling. Like man, then Dean, you're the first of everything. Like you bring everything here. It's like so I gotta stay close to you. Like hey, so people in the comments. Let us know. Like, I'm kind of still stuck on AI, taking on people's jobs. Like, it's like, geez, but it's needed. It's very necessary. Yeah, you're like I said, like we're writing code over code switching. So it's here. It's in front of you. Ask the questions. Like the resource right here. Pivot. Like AI is here. Like how do you learn? Like there's so many free courses. Google. Like I see so many flyers. Like I'll post them. But let's talk about that. Like, what's your future? Like with the deficit thing, like with AI, like what's your vision and goal for Columbus, like in finance way? Like I don't know if I'm making sense, but like how can you systemize Columbus financially to be compatible with AI, like Intel, everybody's coming out if you get what I'm saying, but I'm trying to understand what I'm saying. Like what do you envision for Columbus in the next 5 years? Do that. What do you envision for Columbus in the next 5 years?
Well, so we have so many amazing things on the horizon for Columbus. We have Link Us.
Okay.
Which
Yes.
if you're not familiar with Link Us, it's essentially a program that Coda is doing in partnership with City of Columbus and several other entities to bring bus rapid transit to the Columbus region, not just the City of Columbus, but the Columbus region as a whole. And essentially what a bus rapid transit system is, think about a subway that is above ground on the streets, but with a bus rapid transit system, your stops are in the middle and there's dedicated bus lanes. And also at least how it's planned now is a bus every 10 minutes to get you point A to point B, and there's actually less stops. So like for me personally, I live just over 4 miles away from my place of work along the first bus rapid transit line, which will be at West Broad Street. And so if you think about the impact that will have on our economy, on all the bus rapid transit lines that we'll have, I mean, a lot of other cities that's been tried in, there's been a lot of rapid development along those corridors, and I would expect that we'll see the same. A lot of rapid development along those corridors. So that's an exciting thing on the region. So a lot of job opportunities, a lot of partnerships with some of the universities to get folks into those new jobs. And we also have Zone In, which Smith, I think when I walked in here, I saw you had some stuff on Zone In. So that's something that is currently being worked on. And if you're a Columbus resident, I highly encourage you to come out to some of their events, give your honest feedback, because it's very important we get this right. Because it's very rare that cities open up the hood and change the zoning policies, because that really has an impact on development that takes decades to really start to see, you know? So that's another very interesting thing on the horizon, and just the growth that I think our region is going to continue. Hopefully we can do it in a way that keeps housing affordable, and we just maintain the steady growth.
Thanks for pointing out, because I was drawing a blank. But yes, with the transit thing, like I will give my different input, because I like to walk around. I bike too. But the one thing I would like to see is I had to. You see, he said it. Go zone in. Like, it's good to talk about on video, but like you have to go to actual place to. I'll put the link below, and put your input. Like when I'm walking around here, there's some place with sidewalk, some place without sidewalk, and then there's many routes, streets with no trees. I'm like, I'm in the sun. So I'm like, I'm good, but I would love some shade so I could walk faster, keep my body temperature down. But yeah, that's definitely what I would like to see. I'm 5 miles from downtown, my working place. Take e-bike, you just zoom through. Yeah, I want to look more into it. Like, you give me a perspective. Like, I've been to a few, but like, I ain't take more interest in it, because you said it's going to take a decade. And yes. Is there anything else like you have to say to close out? Or
I think I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.
Cool.
Really appreciated talking to you and your friendship, Smith.
Yes, sir.
Hope we get together again for tennis sometime here soon.
Yes, we got to do golf too. So yeah. The Smith battles. So thank you for coming along. Thank you for, the mishaps and stuff. But this is Smith International, and look, Columbus International. One thing I forgot to say is Columbus is more international than Chicago to me. Like, this is the first Caucasian I've been to my house and I interacted with. Yeah, I worked at a white church in Huntsville, Alabama, but I did the sound, that was it. But like, this is a friendship. Like, this is happening. Like, we're writing the code over code switching. So it's like this organic. So it's like spending time playing tennis and then podcast. So it's like, it's actually happening here in Columbus despite the media. So this is what this podcast is about. Sharing the positive, the actual things that are happening. So yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you, Dean Smith. The battle continues. So if you want to participate, just let us know. You gotta be a Smith though, or part of Nala, but no, I'm joking. We'll open it up a little bit. Make sure don't get too crazy, but hey, if you love playing with the Smiths, the battle of Smiths, you're well free to come in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.